Hello, hello, you guys.
Hey, hey.
Welcome to another episode of Freedom Collective Secret Sauce. Today we have obviously the wonderful Aaron and we have the wonderful Carol and Luke. We're going to do things a little bit different today. We're going to skip the casualties of Aaron. We're going to have him have a little hello, but we're going to go right into this conversation because we've got a lot to talk about in regards to NLP. But I want to dive into more of what Luke and Carol's obvious secret sauce is, which is the love that they have for each other, the love that they have for the business, and how they are so wonderfully in tune to be able to do both at the same time and still provide people with love and happiness. And so I'm so excited to dive into all kinds of topics today. And so welcome, Carol, Luke, Aaron. Nice to see you today.
Thank you. Thanks, Sheena. Thanks, Aaron.
No worries.
Okay, so let's just first share with the audience. I want to know how you first started. How did you guys meet? And how did you guys start to, first of all, how did you know that you had NLP in common? And then how did you start your business from that discovery?
Wow. Okay, so back in 2016, I got a friend request. And this friend request had 80 friends in common. And, you know, as you do when you get a new friend request on Facebook, you go to a stalk and you go, oh, do I want to be connected with this person? And, 80 friends in common. And it was like, yeah, okay, well, this person looks like my kind of person. So I said, hi, thanks for connecting. And Luke replied something like, hi, no one says that. Nice to meet you, or something. And we basically just started chatting, via Messenger. And then one day I accidentally hit the phone button, not the send button. And it's ringing. And I hung up because I really thought this man was going to think I was stalking him. So I hung up, and then within a very short space of time, he called me back. And, 3-4 hours later, we were still on the phone.
Oh, my gosh.
So what we found was that we'd actually been traveling in the same circles for a little while, and we'd even been to the same events and crossed paths, but we never connected. Timing is everything. Mm-hmm. And Luke was moving up from the Blue Mountains to the Central Coast. I was moving from Terrigal to Tumby. And basically, just through beautiful conversation, he said to me, I'm a Lomi massage therapist. I know you're really stressed about moving, come and have a massage. And I basically said, no, I've seen your prices. I can't afford you. And he said, oh, well, we're friends. Like you can pay it off. And I just went, you know what? I can't say no to that. So I actually turned up at his doorstep, firstly, connected as a friend, but then, as a client. And I have to say, that day that I met him, he greeted me at the door with this amazing hug. And I just went, oh, that feels like home.
Oh.
So, yeah, I'll hand it over to Luke now.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It was good to connect with like-minded, moving from the mountains, fresh new start, ended up in Netherland Beach actually when I first moved up. And it was a really nice fresh start to come into the coast. Yeah. Didn't know anyone. I knew probably 2 or 3 people. I didn't know a lot of people up there. A couple of school friends that moved from out west up the coast. But in a nutshell, it was a really good foundation connection between myself and Carol. We had a lot in common, and the friendship evolved over about 4.5 months. And then we identified that, we're probably going to be a little bit more than just friends. So, we decided to start dating, and things evolved from there. And then later that year, I did my last level of Hawaii massage training on the Big Island of Hawaii, and I invited Carol to come along, and she came along in the October of the 2016. So pretty much dating for about 6 months. And then all of a sudden we're in another country, another island, and that was kind of like the honeymoon before the honeymoon. So for us, it was a really good experience to get to know each other a bit better. Even though I was doing training most of the day, but we also got opportunity to see some of the sites of Hawaii after the training, during the training as well. We'd have like half days off and go and explore. You got heaps of massage. That's why you went. So the beautiful part about that evolving was that I already knew about NLP, like back in my 20s, but never, ever, ever did I act on it. And nor did I even explore the linguistics. I was aware of certain linguistics with NLP, but I never took that next step. It was ironic that one of my Lummy friends who had completed the NLP training was how it sparked up the interest of Carol to jump on board and do the training. So that was kind of the first step, which would have been around about 2017. I think that was, Carol? 2017? Yeah. So it wasn't long into the relationship that all of a sudden, we're going down this path of, Carol starting in NLP land, and me following not long afterwards. But I'll pass it back on to Carol about that part of the journey.
Yeah. So basically for me, I'd actually been in the coaching space since 2012. So my first level of coaching was I became certified as a law of attraction coach, which is something I love. We live it, we breathe it every single day. And through that, I ended up then going on and doing my coaching diploma, which was, another level up of study. And then through that, I hit the NLP module. And like Luke, way back in my early 20s, I also discovered NLP, but just, again, didn't do anything with it. And then when I finished my diploma, it was like, I need to go down that road. And that was sort of where my heart was saying, you've got to follow that, you've got to follow that. And then when this mutual friend of ours did her training, she said, Carol, come and do it with me. And I went, no, it's not the right time. I'm going to watch you. I want to see what you do. And then when she was at the course, she was posting on social media, and I had major FOMO, and I'm going, oh, crap, I wish I'd gone. So I ended up signing up after her to do the same course. And I can honestly say that course changed my coaching business. It changed my life in a way that I never really expected, because what you get from NLP is the understanding of words, linguistics. You understand communication. You walk in someone, and then you walk out a completely different person with a major amount of different skills. And what I realized was I had always been under the assumption from previous coaching experiences and teaching that as a coach, you take your client from here forward. What I learned from NLP and doing timeline therapy was you've actually got to go backwards. You've got to go back to where all your limiting beliefs came from. We've got to get to the root cause of a problem. And this is what makes us very, very different. Like, we are very, very different from counselors, psychologists, and other practitioners. We dive in, we get to the root cause. We don't stuff around. We don't keep someone in their story for weeks and months and years. It's like, let's get this done, clear this out. Now, you work toward a new beautiful life by taking action. So when I did NLP, I did that, changed my business. Then I took it to the next level, did my Master Practitioner, and then again took on another level of learning, which was absolutely phenomenal. And again, up-leveled me even more. And then I decided to take the deep dive into the trainer's training because I wanted to be a better speaker. I did not do my trainers to become a trainer of NLP. That just was something that happened. But at that level, you're going in here and you're coming out here. And it was probably the scariest, most challenging thing I've ever done. And I remember being in this course, and I mean, this was a month that I had to take out of my life. Luke and I also spent our first wedding anniversary apart because I was there and he was up in Kinkin or somewhere up there.
Queensland, yeah.
Doing more, he was doing breath work. But at this training, I remember being on about day 4 and someone looked at me and I lost my shit because I had so much built up into me, like, am I good enough? You know, all those limiting beliefs come up. Can I do this? Am I good enough? Are people going to want to listen to what I've got to say? And, you know, I had this beautiful man who was an assistant. He came over and he put his hands on my shoulders and he said, Carol, you're going to be fine. He said, you know, there is no failure. There is only feedback. And that to me was like, okay, I've just got to keep going. I've just got to keep going. And then progressed through the training, the 8-hour exam, got through the 8-hour exam. Then I had to do presentations and then walked out of that training and it was like, wow, okay, now I can pass this on. And, you know, it was in February of 2019, the next year, that Mindset Mastery and NLP was born.
That's so cool to hear. Such a big transformation. Yeah. But what I'm not connecting here is my understanding of NLP is not what you've just told us about. I've always seen it as an exercise that sales teams do and trainers teach people about to convert more sales in a business scenario, not in a personal development scenario. So what am I missing here? And maybe we start with what is NLP for people who've never heard of it before.
Okay, so
can I just share? I didn't know anything about NLP, and I was speaking to our dear friend Dick over Christmas, and I was like, I really don't understand this NLP stuff. And so she gave me a little brief overview, and then almost within a week, I met you guys, and I was like, oh, finally, I get to finally understand this. So I've never heard of it before.
Yeah. Okay. So NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. So what we have is we have the neuro, which is our brain, our mind, how we think, our version of the world, our model of the world. Okay, so every one of us, we're on this planet right now, but we haven't. There are parts where we have the same model of the world. We see things exactly the same, but then we have other things that we see differently. So first of all, our model of the world. Now, our model of the world, that's how we think. Then we've got our linguistics. Now, our linguistics is all about language, how we speak to others, how we speak to ourselves. So with the linguistics and NLP, as a teacher, as a practitioner, I can help people to change their model of the world. I can help them to change their language so that they have a more compelling future. Then we have programming. Now, the programming is all about how we are brought up, the experiences we have, the things that have happened to us, our happy times, our bad times, our trauma. Our programming is all about, We take on the words of the people who look after us as children. We take on the words, the beliefs of other people. So NLP is all about helping people to shift. And I say, like, our tagline for Mindset Mastery NLP is transform for life. So if you have an experience of working with us either one-on-one or doing our courses, you are transformed for life. That yes, it is a big part of sales. It's it is a massive part of sales, but for our business specifically, sales is not our focus. Our focus is actually to help people live a better life, to communicate better, to understand each other. NLP can be used for good, it can be used for manipulation. Okay, the politicians are all trained in NLP. So it depends on how suggestible you are as to whether you're going to be hypnotized by words or not. And I always say to my students, we teach it for good. Okay, we don't teach it for manipulation. We don't use it in our training room to hypnotize people, to manipulate them into doing the next level of our sales. We are very open, we are very honest. And you know what? You either like us or you don't. We are very deliberate, we are not desperate. So we take a very different approach. NLP is not a compassionate model. And when I decided to become a trainer and to have this business, I wanted to take it from a compassionate, heart-centered approach, because a lot of people that we attract, a lot of them are healers. A lot of these people have been through their own trauma. And what we want to do is we want to walk beside them in the goop, and we leave it out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask Aaron, you can ask your question. Well, I'll ask first, and then you ask yours, and then they can answer. How does Luke fit into this? So I see now you're the power behind this. And Luke, did he just kind of come onto your plan like you kind of came onto his, or how did Luke get into the picture?
In regards to the training, like doing the training?
Yeah. So did you get NLP trained as well? Because this
yes.
You did. Okay, got
it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So obviously inspired by a lot of friends who've completed the training as well, and going down that rabbit hole, I did not think for a moment that we'd be running a training company together. It was more about, we just want to help private clients. I've been doing one-on-one scenarios since I was 19 years old, because I had my own music school for 22 years. So one-on-one was my gig. So when people say, well, how long have you been doing this kind of work for? I said, well, effectively, 4.5 years, whatever it is. However, let's go back to 1992, where people would share their problems, during a music lesson, and then you would find ways to assist them to obviously feel a lot better after the session, and give them some homework, of course, learn this song, learn that song, and send them on their way. But this is what was happening progressively with the know, like, trust model, isn't it? They start to get to know you, they like you, they trust you, they start sharing stuff that they wouldn't share with their parents, or they wouldn't share with their husband or wife. So that was that trusted ear. So yeah, talk therapy was kind of like that first step into helping people. What I like about the NLP model especially is that it gives you that opportunity to as Carol said before, let go of the story without the emotional attachment. That's the big tick for me personally, but also a big tick of helping other people to let go of that story, because a lot of people identify themselves as their story. They are not their story. A story, something has happened to them for whatever reason, and as Tony Robbins would say, that there's growth in the trauma. There's an opportunity to grow because of the trauma. Actually, his statement was there's a gift in the trauma. So the gift, if we see it as a gift and we can grow through that, and having the assistance of practitioner / coach, etc., that can help them with all the tools that we give, because we all want to make our job redundant. What happens a lot in our practice is that we have people using us as their last resort, not their first choice. So they're on that merry-go-round of seeing, and no disrespect to the psychologist and the psychiatrist, because I actually got a client at the moment who's working with myself and a psychiatrist and a psychologist as well. And this particular guy reminds him of his psychiatrist. So we've got a very good connection there. So the difference is, to make our job redundant is like not being reliant on that relationship to last 10, 15, 20 years. Yes, you work together for a few months, and there might be some top-up sessions, but the top-up sessions is purely to help them grow, not release their old trauma. So it might be accountability, or they're looking at a new career and they want to kind of just push through some limiting beliefs. But because they've let go of those other emotions with timeline therapy, which I'm sure Carol's going to talk about very soon, is that it's going to give that person a new opportunity to shift through the limiting beliefs quicker than what it would have been like if they'd never had that kind of therapy before. So that's the part that I like the most, that they can shift through that experience. Now, unfortunately, not everyone sees that. They might just go, I just need a counseling session. They don't always see the value behind it, because they may have a belief system they actually need to talk to someone for the rest of their life. So if they can't see that, well, we can't help them, of course. But if they do see it, even like 5%, there's a little glimmer of hope there. Well, then they'll step through and jump down a new rabbit hole and do life a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how does timeline therapy fit into this?
I think Aaron had a question first.
Yeah. Sorry, Aaron, I didn't mean to.
Well, I mean, I've had a second thought whether I should even ask it, but I mean, you guys are the experts, so you can put some clarity around this. But it was around. You mentioned hypnotize, Carol. You said you used the words, and politicians use these NLP to hypnotize their audiences. And I mean, I'm assuming over decades or longer periods of time. How does that relate to the mass psychosis that we're currently facing? Because from a personal point of view, there's some people that I just can't talk to, not because I don't want to talk to, not because we don't have a good, healthy friendship, but there's just some areas where I see them go into their trance of beliefs.
Yeah. And this is where I guess, I mean, for us, what's going on is not something that we spend a lot of time talking about, because we want to move forward. But the thing is, what has been instilled in people is fear, and when people have that fear, it's like they do things out of fear. And there are a lot of suggestible people that will go, you know what? Okay, I want to give you an example here. Some people may see a politician like they see a doctor as an authoritarian. So this person knows what is right. Who are you? Who are you to tell me, what I can do? These people know what they're talking about. These people are the experts. These people get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. But, when a politician says the words, you want to help everybody, don't you? Okay, that is a statement with a tag question. Now, if they ask enough statements, they say a statement with a tag question, okay, people are going, yes, I do want to, you want to keep people safe, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yes, I do. If you get 3 yeses, guess what? They're going to go do what they're told. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's all I want to say about that.
Yeah.
It's an interesting mechanism. You're right, because people, I mean, this is why I think I relate it to sales, because you drop benefit 1, you do want X, you understand why this is good. You go through the process, and then it's almost like as an individual in that situation, I mean, I don't understand how that algorithm works or how we're programmed that way, but it's using what we already, our inbuilt intelligence, our story, our personality, what we are, to guide us along the way. And then once we go so far, there is no turning back, because we don't want to disagree with ourselves. That doesn't work.
And also too, there are people who don't want to be left behind, and that's where the fear comes in. They don't want to be left behind. They want to just follow the trend, follow the language, follow the yellow brick road to God knows where. And this is where, okay, I'm going to share with you something that I did last year as an experiment. And I wasn't going to go down this road, but I'm going to share it anyway. Okay.
So of course.
Last year when we went into that hideous lockdown, I was listening to people that I love and people that I care about, getting caught up in the news. And see, Luke and I do not watch the news at all. And people can call us ignorant. I really don't care. There is no news. So I decided just for one day to immerse myself in the news and in the Gladys report and in the ScoMo report.
Oh no. I'm cringing.
I did it for one day, and I, watched the social media, and I thought, I'm just going to do it because I want to understand where the fear is coming from and where people are not questioning. And we all have our own minds, so we can make up our own mind. I'm not. I've never been the one to go, you should do this or you should do that. I do me. That's it. But anyway, I did this for one day. And the next day I was in tears. I was angry. I was frustrated, to the point where I actually had to go and outside, sit on the grass, because I was literally like this. And Luke was upset with me because I was upset with him, and I was angry. And he basically said, sweetheart, please don't ever do that again. And I went, no, but I literally, I was in this state for a couple of days, and it was a state of almost hypervigilance, and like, I don't know what to believe. And then I was questioning my own head, and then it was like, no, okay, turn off the TV, turn off social media. But, and I remember having a conversation with someone who I'm very close to in our business, and we were both literally in tears talking about what was going on, and, how lockdown was really affecting so many people, and the mental health, and that was like, right, okay, pull ourselves out of it, we've got to do something. And so, we use our tools to listen, because once you know something, you cannot unknow it. Once you hear it, you cannot unhear it. But you can choose to switch off. And, when I was listening to the politicians and I was hearing, don't you? Yes, you do. And I'm thinking, holy crap, now I get it.
Yeah.
Does that answer the question, Aaron?
Yeah, it does. It does completely. And I think that's the power of having this sort of conversation, because I mean, I knew it was happening, and I fell in that trap myself. I wanted some information. I wanted to know what was going on. So I thought, let's flick it on and see what's happening. And I felt exactly what you felt. And it gets in you, and it's like it's an illness And it was something cool you said a little while ago as well about there being no failure. Because I came across a quote that says, fear kills more dreams than failure ever will.
100%.
And that is just so true and powerful, because they know how to get in you. I mean, they know this stuff, and they do it on purpose. And the majority of us are just, like leaves in the wind. We just go with it.
And so when we're teaching, and we've got our students that come in and they're at their journey of learning NLP and learning to, expand their mind, because, a mind that's expanded can never go back, right? And they get all worried, like, am I doing it right? I can't do this and I can't do that. And I just say, stop. Okay, there is no failure. There is just feedback. And this is where, as people with our own minds, we have to be resourceful. Okay, so, and this is what we teach our students. In some instances and circumstances, we have to be resourceful. Rather than falling in a heap, you've got to stand up and be resourceful and be solution focused. And this is why, we love what we do so much when we're teaching these courses, because we're opening people's minds, and they really are, I feel transformed for life. But that journey is ongoing. You can't just learn something and stop. You've got to just, keep expanding the mind.
What I want to add to that as well is that, when we've all gone through a collective trauma, I don't want to say trauma, but we've gone through a collective experience wasn't so positive. That's when the birth of new ideas come. It never comes when we're all kind of lying on the beach. That's a lovely day. Well, that could happen as well, but you will find, and this has been quoted by people like Robert Kiyosaki. They'll say, like when we're in this crisis, when there is a recession per se, this is when all the great ideas start to appear, because we start to learn to adapt and then grow to the next level. So we don't know what the real reason for all this is. Why is it happening? All we know is that it's happening, and we just got to reach out to the right people that's going to help us grow through the experience, rather than trying to do it on your lonesome, and being in a fetal position in the corner, as I say a lot to people. It's like, reach out to your tribe, whether it's one person or 500 people, because then you're not just by yourself. Now, what unfortunately this lockdown did, was it kind of created this separation, because we're so used to being so kinesthetic and touch, hug, converse face to face. But what we're learning now is that we can still have this kinesthetic experience, but still be online. One of my mentors said the other night, he just said, these days, I'm not sure what generation, might be Gen Ys, might be Gen X's, not Gen X's, sorry, Gen Ys, or 2000s, is that they call face-to-face what we're doing right now. This is face-to-face, where we used to face-to-face being in the room. So they're used to this kind of technology where they're still connected, and a lot of us Gen Xers are still getting used to that transition from face-to-face to being online, but still feeling connected with other people. So the more that we help people adapt to this kind of platform, that we can still help them. And we've had clients and students in other countries. That's the best part that's happened with us, is that when, even next week when we do our Master Practitioner training, we've got one lady dialing in from Zurich, starting our training at 1 a.m. in the morning. How cool is that?
That's great.
That's awesome.
And just to learn and grow. So
can I ask something along Aaron's question? Thanks, Aaron, for asking that, because I was going to bring that up in a little bit. A few of the things that you were saying, Carol, really resonate with me in regards to expanding consciousness and allowing people to expand their consciousness. I resonate with that so well, because I have had such a quick shift over the last 2 years of my expanding my consciousness. So I understand how this is working. But what I was going to ask you at the beginning was, so if NLP is programming the mind and you can use it in a positive way, And we know that it's been used in a negative way, obviously, as you said, with the news. But we've also been religion, money, science. I mean, we've got all these layers of programming that we need to get through in order for us to pop our consciousness quickly. And so for me, I saw it was a mental lockdown in my mind. And it wasn't until I removed the programming that has been put onto me. And only then, when you clear your mind, then you can start building from scratch and move forward. So do you help remove programming as well? Because we've all been, I mean, we're all programmed. And in order to us to evolve, we need to be unprogrammed.
Yes.
So
yeah, I can give you some examples of that. So let's just use the example of a limiting belief. Okay, so someone has a limiting belief of, you know, I'm not good enough, I can't speak up. Let's look at that. Okay, they have that limiting belief as an adult. Now, if we go back to programming, okay, programming starts, you know, as a little person. You know, the day we are born, we are taking in other people's words, other people's feelings, other people's programs. So if you've got a small child and that small child is treated in a way where it's like, shh, be quiet, you know, sit over there, don't say a word, go to your room, shh, be quiet. And then that child grows up and, you know, in primary school, and that little person is bullied. Okay, and they don't say a word because, you know, they've, you know, shh, you've got to be quiet. You know, don't bother anyone. You've got to be quiet. Okay, and then let's just say, you know, you've got this young teenage girl, and she gets into her first relationship, and maybe she's not treated that well, but you know, she can't tell anyone. She can't say anything because, you know, who am I? You know, I've just got to be quiet and do as I'm told, right? And then that woman may then go on and manifest an abusive relationship where, you know, she is pushed down so far that she doesn't even know who she is because she has no voice because she's been programmed to shut up. So when we work with limiting beliefs and timeline therapy, what we do, you know, is, I don't know whether you've probably heard the saying, you know, you heal the child, you heal the woman, you heal the man, you know, heal the girl, heal the boy, heal the woman, heal the man. We go back to that very first time in timeline therapy. She says to me, I can't speak up for myself. Now, when someone says, I can't, that's a limiting belief. And I say, well, okay, if you can't speak up, when did you decide that? When did you decide you can't speak up? So she might say, I don't know. I've always felt that way. So if we were to, you know, take her to her timeline, she may go back to being that little toddler. And that very first event where she decided she can't speak up was the very first time someone went, shh, shut up, be quiet. Now, when that happens and you decide, okay, I've got to be quiet, I can't speak up, then you believe it. So then it becomes a belief. And when you hold on to a belief, it becomes your reality. Okay, so the bullying, the not being treated right by the first boyfriend, it's a belief. So when you believe it, you just bring it into your reality. Okay, you're not good enough. Okay, well, I'm just going to bring people in just to prove I'm not good enough. Okay, I don't deserve a relationship. I don't deserve to be loved. No one loves me. All of these, this is part of programming. Does that make sense?
yes.
So yes, we can change someone's programming. So let's just say, you know, the woman who comes to me and she says, I can't speak up for myself. I get walked all over. Okay, the limiting belief is maybe I don't have a voice. I can't speak up. We flip it and we go, right, well, what would you like to believe? And she said, you know what, I want to believe that my voice is important and people want to hear what I have to say and I can stand up for myself. So what we do is we use timeline therapy and she comes out with a brand new belief that her words are important and she will not let anyone silence her ever again. That's one.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get onto a stage. Do you do public speaking as well?
I'd love to.
Yes, you are definitely a stage girl.
I'm a little bit passionate about what I do.
Powerful stuff. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Aaron, do you have anything? Because I do want to talk about this timeline. We're coming up to wrapping up here, but I want to get into the timeline. We'll go into the timeline. We're going to talk about your events and everything. But is there any lingering questions, Aaron, that have come up over the last few minutes?
I just think it must feel. I mean, you guys are healers. As healers, to be able to see those breakthroughs in people, and even their journey too. And I know it's just everyone's just one choice away from making significant change in their life. It comes down to asking the right questions and just that process of pondering and then catching yourself out and going, why was I thinking that, or what happened to me? Because some of these memories are invisible. We hide them so deep they don't even exist to us anymore, and we animate them by by walking amongst the other people that just mirror that back to us, and they don't know, that they just go, oh, that that's the way so and so is. They never want to ask. I mean, people, we struggle to have these intimate conversations, and I think that's also another unfortunate side effect of being locked up the last couple of years. A lot of us are quite comfortable hanging out at home and not interacting with people. So I really appreciate the work you guys do. But just quickly, is there anything that you can just say, general people, without needing to know the knowledge? I mean, I don't like people asking everyone, are you okay? It's kind of I think they're taking the piss when they see a mate in need and they go, are you okay? And it's kind of like, between blokes especially, it's a joke. But is there a way of asking somebody that in a genuine way that does get traction?
I always ask, what? Okay, this is another thing. When you ask why, a why question is not an empowering question. Okay, when you ask someone, why are you upset, or why do you feel this way, you open yourself up to I don't know.
Yep.
If you say, for what purpose do you think this is happening? What's the intention behind this? I mean, as an NLP teacher and practitioner, I teach my students to ask important questions. We ask, what if, how, for what purpose, for what intention, and that there opens people up. And when you ask questions like that, people actually feel heard. You could just say, hey, I've noticed you're not really yourself. What's going on? That's way better than, are you okay?
Exactly. That's perfect.
That's right. Okay, so you have mentioned timeline therapy. It's funny that you say that, because I'm a past life regression therapist, and I go back and forth. Probably not as often as you do, but for the audience, can you explain a bit about what timeline therapy is and how this can help?
Absolutely. First of all, it's not regression at all.
Okay.
Okay. There's a big difference in regression. With timeline therapy, the main goal here is to help people to let go of the 5 big negative emotions, which are anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt, from their past, so that there is no emotional attachment to past trauma. So when we hold on to anger in our body, so if we think about something from our past and we are still pissed off about it, that means that anger is sitting in our nervous system. So when we hold on to anger, what that does is it gives us the capacity to hurt people, hurt other people, physically, mentally, verbally. It can also manifest dis-ease within us. So when we hold on to anger, right, and we're raging and we're fuming, heart attack, high blood pressure, liver disease, all of that. So when we release anger, we release it from our past, we come back to now, and we can talk about something from our past, but there is no emotional attachment. So that's the very first one. Then we release sadness. Now, sadness, if you are sad, you are living in your past. It is the precursor for depression. You can't be sad about something that's going to happen tomorrow, but you can be sad about something that happened yesterday. When we hold on to sadness, like I said, precursor for depression. So when we release sadness, and when we hold on to sadness, like anger hurting others, when we're sad, it gives us the capacity to hurt ourselves. So we have to release sadness from the nervous system, okay? Because we don't want to, and I mean, this may surprise people, it may even trigger people, but we can create it, okay? We can create depression, okay? Because we're living in our past. The next emotion is fear. When we are fearful and we have fear in our nervous system, we are living too far in the future. Fear is a message from the unconscious mind to focus on what you want, and it's to focus on what you want right now. When we are living in the future, guess what we create? We create anxiety because we worry about stuff. Something might have happened in our past. Holy crap, what if it happens in my future? Oh, that partner cheated on me. Well, what if my partner is cheating on me right now? Oh, I don't trust them. Okay, so we can worry, get so caught up in what might happen, what could happen, but what may never happen. That's how we create anxiety. So we have to release fear from our past. Back to the first event where we were fearful about something. I could go on like this for another hour. Then we have hurt. Hurt people just want to hurt people. So we have to release hurt from our past to clear it out. And then we have guilt. And guilt is a really yucky one because when people are guilty, usually it's guilt from others that has been put onto them. And when we release guilt, we free people. It's a little bit like forgiveness. When you can forgive someone, you don't release them, you release yourself. So that is, in a nutshell, timeline. We go back to the very first time you felt anger. We release it. The very first time you felt sadness. But we release it on every single thing you've ever been angry about, from then all the way to now. And then we, get the point that would come out a timeline, and I would say to them, okay, now I want you to go back to your past and think about an event where you used to feel that old emotion of anger. And 99% of the time they look at me like this, and they go, I can't think of anything now that I used to be angry about.
There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
Humans, I mean, life doesn't need to be this complicated, but we make it more complicated than what it needs to be.
Yeah, but by doing this, we get to the root cause like that. And there's no need for years and years and years of therapy and going to someone each week and just talking about why. We get shit done.
Great.
Another one.
GSD.
Get on the stage, Carol.
Love
I'm
it.
going to throw it over to Luke. Should we throw it to Aaron? Should we throw it over to Luke? Because I'm going to actually change gears because we're going to wrap up. I'm going to ask Luke to talk about your courses and if people all around the world can participate. But can I ask the question, I don't mean to get personal or anything, but you're business partners and you're a beautiful couple in marriage as well. So
Correct.
how do you balance? You know, it looks like you fight very beautifully together, as we hear. You know, but how do you manage the entrepreneurial side of the the coin and the marriage side of the coin, and still come off as a beautiful, strong, interesting, dynamic duo?
Effective communication.
Yeah.
That's in a nutshell, effective communication. And do you know what? We're all not perfect. We do have moments where we do sit in our group, but we also know that if one of us is in our group, it's very rare that we're both in our group at the same time. But if one of us is in our group, the other one's got enough tools to help the other person through it quicker, so I don't stay there. An example, when I didn't see my boy for 3 months, and I remember I was like on my bed, just like I was, really missing him. We do video calls every day, but it's not the same as that connection, So, and Carol was just holding space for me, while I was going through that process. When Carol's been in her group, for whatever reason, I've held space for her. There's no judgment.
Mm-hmm.
When there's no judgment, you're not being kicked. You're not, when you're on the ground, you're not still getting kicked by the other person. You can actually break through quicker and then continue. Now, the best part is my dad's background, Italian background, Australian born, dad jokes, continuous. So when there's some times where we need to do what they call a pattern interrupt, there comes a dad joke, and we'll both just like lose our shit laughing, because it's like, well, we can't be serious all the time. I'm very serious in business. I like to help people. I also like to manifest some goals for my family, and also to find ways to give back to community. So yes, there is a serious side, but in saying that, there's always good intention as well. Do you know what I mean? There's always ways that we can help ourselves as a family, and also the community in different ways, whether it's your time, whether it's money, whether it's donations, whether it's education. Now, if you go to our YouTube channel, you will see that there was a short video that we did that we gave away over $30,000 worth of training and coaching in a short period of time. We didn't have to do that, guys. We chose to, because we wanted to help people. So when you see that, and that was just something that we wanted to share. We don't share that every day, that kind of communication, but there was an opportunity where we said, let's do this, Carol. She did it, I did it, we did it as a training company. So it's really about your intention, and our intention was to train people so they could help the community as well. That was our intention. It still is.
I was actually going to ask, do you train people that want to get into the practice? Because we're having a lot of people shift. They want to help people, and I see this as a very credible path to take.
Absolutely, and it's an internationally accredited course as well. So it's not, which means that you're not, you don't have to worry about just the local people. You can have clients overseas, and we'll show you how to do that. You follow the right action steps. And to be quite honest, like when you think about the money that people pay to do our training, we know how much it costs to set up a shop. We know how much it costs to set up a business. To become a practitioner, the cost is very minimal. For the kind of return that you can get and change your own personal life, break through your own limiting beliefs, and be that, I want to use the word sovereign, but be that sovereign person. You got more choices rather than being your 9-to-5. And no disrespect to 9-to-5s, we all need to have jobs in different areas, but I always wanted to create an exit strategy many years ago. When I did NLP, that's when I created the change to do it full time.
Wow.
I cracked through that limiting belief. Rather than doing, let's do self-employment 50%, how about let's do it 100% now? And NLP was the course that changed my life. And like I said, not going back now. Like I could not work for a boss now. It's like, see ya. But our next trainings, we do have one next week, which is our very top level 15-day fast track Master Practitioner NLP training, which includes all the 4 modalities: timeline therapy, NLP, practitioner, NLP coach, and also there's the Master Prac version of the hypnosis training too. The next one after that is our baseline or our entry level 3-day hypnosis training, which this one's going to be online. It's September 9 to 11th. And then you start to get to know a know, like, trust. Do we know, like, and trust Luke and Carol? Because there are plenty of training companies out there. It just depends on who your flavor is. If you want to dive a bit deeper, then you do the 7-day. And this is the most popular course that people would take when they're looking for major change. So it's like the first step in regards to NLP, but it's also same 4 modalities at a prac level, but it's enough for you to then you can go out and then help people once you've completed the training, passed the written test, and also get all the other parts set up as well, like your insurances, etc. But we show you how to do that even after the training, where most training companies will say, we've got your money now, here's your certificate, see you later. We're like, no, we actually want to help you grow into that amazing business. We've actually referred work to some of our master practitioners as well, because we can't take in all the clients, so we feel that they're suited to somebody else, we will send that work to that other master practitioner. So we've done that in the past quite a few times.
And we also have lifetime access. So anyone who does any of our courses, they can come back and do it again at no cost. So if you do it online and we get back to being in the room, you can come and do it for free in the room and be with us. So that is our point of difference. But we also like to keep our numbers a little bit smaller than most, because we want everyone to feel heard. We want all questions answered. So we're not about, having hundreds of people online. We like to keep our numbers smaller.
Well, you guys, I want to say that we've had a few comments here. Everybody's loving this chat. I encourage everybody in the audience to connect with Carol and Luke. We're going to hear more about this training, both the practitioner training and the coaching. And Carol, I definitely think you need to start speaking on the stage, whether it's live video. I don't know if I've seen a live video or not, but
I need to do more.
You do, and you don't even need to practice, because you are just so eloquent when you talk, and we do need more of this. So I'm very excited. Aaron, do you have any final thoughts?
I'm just glad to continue to meet more action men out there that are creating real change and impact in real people's lives. And I mean, to hear that you guys are internationally accredited and part of a much larger community. I mean, this is how the world changes. One break in beliefs at a time, and helping each individual people to, and they're not going to affect too. I mean, it's very hard. It's hard. It'd be impossible to measure the impact that you guys are making.
Yeah.
We're really excited where it's going.
I mean, I randomly saw them in the middle of the road, and I already knew about them from Alicia and Vic. They were already talking about Luke and Carol, and then I see them on the street. So your word is getting out there, and you're making a massive difference, at least in this part of the world.
We're excited. And if you guys want to know more, our website's really, really easy to remember, but it's mmnlp.com. Or you can look up Mindset Master NLP, and we've got stuff on YouTube, all on our socials. But most importantly, if you want to get some free resources and information, on the main website, we do have dozens of blogs, information that we share from our main website to our socials. But if you just go on the website and click on blog, you will see stacks and stacks and stacks.
I've been busy.
Lots of writing. I've been publishing Carol's writing. So and we want to make sure that it gets to everyone, because there's no use writing blogs that no one sees them. So, and we're starting to get a lot more traction now with the main website. So really, have fun reading lots of great information. If that helps you shift through an experience, well, job well done from our end.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
It's so nice to finally talk to you guys, and I'm so excited that you're doing this, and whatever we can do to help bring people to you, promote people. I'm going to create this video, and we'll get the word out. You guys, it's been an amazing chat. Thank you, audience, for joining us on this wonderful talk.
Yeah, great comments, guys.
Thank you, and
Thank you.
soon.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank
All
you.
right.
See you later.
See you later.
Bye for now.